Future Commerce is brought to you by Vertex. Vertex Cloud is for businesses of all sizes, from small and medium-sized businesses all the way to enterprise. You can find out how Vertex can help your business by visiting them online at vertexcloud.com/futurecommerce. Future Commerce is brought to you by Omnisend. Omnisend is way more than just email marketing. Drive more sales and combine more channels with one platform. Learn more about Omnisend today at omnisend.com/futurecommerce. Future Commerce is brought to you by Gladly. What if customer service could feel like a conversation between friends? Well, Gladly is a radically personal customer service platform that puts people, yes, people, at the center of a single lifelong conversation. By enabling B2C companies to focus on people talking to people, Gladly powers a lifetime of conversations across every channel, from phone, email, text, chat, and social media. See what a truly customer-centered platform looks like today at gladly.com/futurecommerce.
Hello, and welcome to Future Commerce, the podcast about what's next in commerce. I'm Brian.
And I'm Philip. Today we are joined by Parade Chief Digital Officer and co-founder, Jack Defuria. Jack is someone who I follow on Twitter, but also helms digital at the brand that we featured very prominently in our 9x9. Jack, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan of you. What is Parade for those who may not know?
Parade is a women's underwear brand focused on 18 to 30. Started it about 2 years ago with my co-founder, Cami. Really, I think we both grew up in the DTC revolution, working in startups and venture capital in New York. And I think we're both really interested in the power of brands that change cultural narratives and do social good. And I think on the other side of it, we're really interested as product managers to see what does the next generation of e-commerce look and feel like.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. This is your first brand that you've launched?
First brand, worked on a bunch of projects before this across, the first physical brand too, have always worked in digital products. So a whole new domain for me.
And you're quite young.
Yeah. Cami and I are both 23. We started the business while we were in school, raised our pre-seed while still pretending to take classes. And Cami dropped out. I was lucky enough to finish a semester early and raised our seed round right after that.
That is aggressive. Impressive. Impressive.
Very impressive. It can be both. It can be aggressive and impressive.
Totally.
I just read this book from Eric Jorgensen. It's an ebook called Career Advice for Uniquely Ambitious People. Jack, one day maybe you can write the foreword for the second edition of a book of that nature. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to launch a brand, raise capital, and sort of finish out school all at the same time. It sounds like you had a lot of plates spinning all at the same time. And how did you even make the connections?
Yeah, I think it was really just going out and being unafraid to meet people. When we started fundraising and pitching Parade, we had very little. We had an idea for the brand. We had some theses around what product strategy could look like. And I think, more than that, we had perspective on what the future of, DNVB 2.0 might look like. I think for us, that was it came down to two things. One, Cami and I were always focused on building a brand around self-expression. Certainly are not the first DTC brand in the underwear category. And I think when we looked around at both the incumbents and new players in the underwear and lingerie space, kind of on one side, you see sexiness, this outdated sense of glamour. And on the other end, see this kind of stripped down black and beige tone approach to what womanhood looks like. Beyond that, I think looking in DTC broadly, there's the trope of the Subway brand. And so, Cami and I were really excited about how do you build a brand that just totally looks and feels and acts differently than the ones around it. I think the other side of the equation for us was really around digital product, and thinking, how do we develop digital experiences that kind of serve as these little rooms on the internet where she can interact with us and really give her something to share with friends. That's always been a kind of core part of our DNA. When we first launched the business, or rather when we were first, thinking about the business opportunity here, we launched a survey to, I think, like 3,000 college students across the country that we really just like hacked into every sorority group chat and housing Facebook group and wherever we could get it. I think it was really a validating moment for us that not only is she ready for a new underwear brand, but that this is something she's really excited about and, willing to share with friends.
That's really, really interesting. Actually, that leads me to questions about sort of your product development strategy. It sounds like you got out there and were able to connect with customers or potential customers, target market really well up front. Has that played into how you develop the product and how you release the product and so on? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, community has always been a core pillar of our, both brand and business strategy. We ran a few of these digital experiences early on that I think helped shape that close connection to our customers. So around the Victoria's Secret fallout, we had our first true digital experience called It's No One's Secret Anymore, where we just built a Twitter bot that would reply to the hashtag boycott VS. And that was a great way of, starting to amass on a small surface area, but some brand awareness and build our wait list pre-launch. Was also, really helpful way of just like having a captive audience who we could ask questions to and, get on the phone with. So I think, our product development strategy has always been community first. We've launched product that has been directly shaped by feedback we've gotten from our community members. We've also, all of our wear testing happens in our community. And so have done both on the development and concept side work with our community, but also as like testing and future iterations of product that already exists.
There's sort of a drop model that I've witnessed or seen is that products are sort of constantly being trickled out to a customer, and that kind of keeps the engagement, I would assume. But does that model sort of lend itself to rapid product development and launch rather than having to put together really large collections? Is it totally different, or is just the merchandising and the marketing different to the way that like a typical apparel strategy or apparel planning strategy might be executed?
I think that Gen Z is really more a psychographic than it is a demographic. We have customers as young as 16, but we also have customers in their 20s and 30s. And so I think, we're Gen Z in our philosophy and how we see the world. But I don't think it's so cut and dry like that. When we look at our customer, she's the first generation, not just to grow up online, but to grow up on her phone. And, we think about what does that mean? She grew up on an internet that was a lot more spatial and intimate and really centered on self-expression. She was the original Tumblr girl. Her view of herself and her view of the world was kind of shaped online and through those moments on her phone. And we look at e-commerce now evolving into kind of its own spatial and intimate destination online. Look at Into the Gloss or Super Great or Man Repeller. They're kind of these rooms where you can enter to shop someone else's closet. And so I think we see Instagram as what the shopping mall was to a previous generation. She goes online to hang out with her friends, to learn about the world, to engage with the broader community, and really to stand up for things that she cares about. And so we think about reaching her in communities that she finds aspirational and engage her in this kind of intimate, closed-loop dialogue with our community members via these drops.
That's really, really interesting. I think the idea that Gen Z as a psychographic is something we wholeheartedly agree with. And I think this is why I think we rated you on the 9x9 in the Carly category, because can't afford real life yet, like that it's an interesting category. Actually, I think your Parade in particular is very interesting for those that fall into the can't afford real life yet category, because you have such an interesting price point. And inclusivity seems like such a like obvious core tenet of your brand. Especially at a time when like other D2Cs have sort of been criticized for being exclusive with, their sizes and other reasons, but like your price points and your ethos, and you've talked about self-expression a lot. Talk to me a little bit about, those differentiators, and what else you're bringing to the table. You mentioned fabric. Just kind of give me a picture of how you're setting yourself apart in general.
Yeah. I think the most important thing, and I think this goes back to, Gen Z being a psychographic, not a demographic. I think like the most important thing here is to show, don't tell. I think, inclusivity is super important to us. And we all of our products come in extra small through 3XL, every drop, every color we put on the site. Even when you toggle your size on the product page of our website, photos change to show a model who is closer to your size range. So I think that's just been important to kind of embed in the fabric of the brand, and not to make it, not to make it the core thing. Just build a great brand and make that part of it. Sustainability is really important to us as well. We use recycled materials in all of our products. All of our packaging is compostable and biodegradable. Everything down from the poly mailer to the bags the underwear comes in. And 1% of our profits are donated to Planned Parenthood. Been able to build a really strong partnership there since before we even launched. And so, kind of social good has been an important part of not just our story, but I think what Parade is and our kind of reason for existing. Planned Parenthood has been our partner since day one, but throughout kind of our history, we've partnered with organizations on the ground like Feeding America. We've partnered with Glitz, the Loveland Foundation. We've partnered with a number of organizations that kind of stand for similar ways of seeing the world as Parade.
Future Commerce is brought to you by Vertex. Vertex Cloud is the automation platform for tax calculation and use tax and everything in between for businesses of all sizes. From SMB all the way to enterprise, businesses all over the world trust Vertex for their tax calculation needs, and you should too. Check them out today at vertexcloud.com/futurecommerce. OmniSend is one platform to control all of your marketing channels. From marketing automation, SMS, and email to forms and segmentation, you can bring together different channels under one platform with OmniSend. OmniSend's powerful platform allows you to link together every customer touchpoint with one dashboard. And did I mention they have the most transparent pricing in the entire MarTech industry? Find out why brands like Fred Siegel and Unilever trust OmniSend with their customer relationships. Find out more about OmniSend today at omnisend.com/futurecommerce. Gladly is a radically personal customer service platform. Gladly gives customer service teams the ability to treat their customers like people, from knowing their last purchase, their dress size, or even their child's upcoming birthday, all before ever saying hello. Built for the way that people communicate today, a customer and their history are never parted within Gladly. And all conversations across all channels are all contained under a single conversation thread to give agents, the real heroes here, the tools that they need to deliver exceptional customer service experiences. Gladly works with some of the most innovative brands in the world, helping them to deliver a more powerful and more personal experience for their customers. Some of those customers are JetBlue, Tumi, Joanne, Godiva, and Native Shoes, and maybe even you. Don't wait. Find out today what a radically personal customer service platform is all about. Visit gladly.com/futurecommerce to learn more. There's an interesting tie-in then to thinking about how, you seem like Parade and yourself seem like you're standing at the dawn of another wave of direct-to-consumer. And having grown up with brands, in the last 10 years, who had this philosophy of a purpose-driven mission for the brand that actually turned out to possibly be more marketing than much of anything else. I'm curious what you've learned from those in your orbit. I know we had spoken before that some of the advisors that or some of the folks that made early investments in Parade are of the DTC 1.0 era. What are the things that you've learned from them that help you set up yourself up for success to be more authentic than maybe the last generation of DTC has been proven out to be?
Yeah, we've been really lucky to work with amazing investors who deeply understand consumer categories and have kind of helped craft DTC 1.0, as you said. Our seed was led by Ben Lair and Caitlin Stramberg at Lair Hippo, and we worked really closely with Ellie Wheeler at Greycroft, the folks at Cassius, folks who really deeply understand what it takes to build a consumer brand in 2020. We also have investors around the table who have led DTC brands before. Neil from Warby Parker, Neil and Phil from Casper, Jen and Steph from Away, Andy from Bonobos, all have been kind of champions of us and helped us kind of shape and reshape and reshape and reshape our strategy as we go. So I think, having the perspective of operators in the e-commerce world who really just have done it, and kind of have their learnings to share, I think have been it's been extremely helpful. One of our greatest, I think, advantages as a brand. But, I think also we have a really strong perspective about what we think this next generation looks like. You can't build a brand on the back of performance marketing in 2020. And so, I think workshopping that with industry leaders and operators who have done it before has been, extremely powerful for us. I think when we look at our vision for the category and where we see ourselves in the e-commerce landscape, where Warby Parker and Casper and a lot of the DTC 1.0 brands kind of brought categories online for the first time, we see our challenge as reimagining what a value brand looks like and distributing it through the internet. And so that's kind of a unique challenge that I think, still plenty of room for us to kind of grow and expand there.
So we've talked about D2C a lot here, and you like you said, you've sort of been making and remaking D2C with advice from the pioneers that came before. But you talk about distributing a sort of a budget brand across digital. I've got to think about other channels as you're talking. I'm thinking, wow, like this seems like something that could be brought to the market through other places as well. Do you see D2C as one part of your strategy, or are you considering other channels? What does that future look like?
For sure. We're interested in expanding beyond DTC e-commerce. I think digital is our DNA. It's what we know best between our social, our community programs, our growth marketing, our digital product. It gives us such a wide platform to tell our story. We've sold over 500,000 pairs now. In our first 2 weeks, sold in all 50 states. And I don't think through any other, launching on any other channel, we'd be able to accomplish this in such a short amount of time. But our goal is really to build the next big American underwear brand. We know that to get there, we need a 360 approach, and certainly wouldn't pigeonhole ourselves into a single channel.
So much being said recently, not to be critical of folks who are actually building in the open. I think that's part of the easy criticism, to take shots at people who are learning and externalizing their learnings as they go. It looks like they're being blown around every 2 months chasing something new. But in reality, everyone is constantly evolving and changing their thinking, because it's incredibly impressive to sell to all 50 states and 500,000 pairs. And in such a short period of time, I'm curious what you might have learned and taken away from that over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. We've learned so much in the 11 and a half months that Parade has been in business. Couldn't even begin to share all of, share everything that we've learned. I think I'd say one of the most important things that I'm reminded of constantly internally as a team and across all of our marketing, I think the value of authenticity and staying really true to who you are, especially during periods of really fast growth. Feel really lucky for all of that and, the contributions of everybody on our team to kind of get us to that place. But I think one of the hardest parts is always just checking yourself, staying true to your mission as a brand, your vision for the category, and kind of in the heat of the moment, always coming back to that. So, not as much a single learning. There have been so many things, but I think one of the most important lessons is, to hold really true there.
This book I'm reading right now is the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, and it talks a lot about, in Naval's own words, about first principles and having courage in your convictions, right? Yeah. Not being afraid to speak your mind and not being afraid to stick to your gut, even when everybody else is telling you that's even when other people disagree with you. And that's something that I've struggled with. And it's so inspiring to hear someone else, building a brand through COVID, no less, to basically say, one of the learnings is really just to have courage in your convictions and stick to the plan and keep the course. Because it seems so fraught right now in the world, and certainly could be difficult, I'm sure, to build a brand. Of course, e-commerce isn't going anywhere. Brian, you had a couple questions around.
Well, no, I'm curious. So we've learned some things about the last 12 months. What about the next 12 to 18 months? What do you expect to have to overcome ahead here? Because we're still in the midst of COVID. There's an election coming up. There's all kinds of things that are going to change things. The world's going to change yet again coming up here. So tell me what's ahead.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking ahead. It'll be our second year of business as of October 21st, which is going to be, really exciting to kind of celebrate our 1 year. But looking into our second year, I think we're expanding the team. We've added a ton of key people through COVID. Feel really fortunate to be able, to be in the position that we're in. But I think, continuing to expand the team in the right ways. I think we're really intentional about every person we bring on to Parade, and feel like truly every person at the company has a really unique contribution that makes the brand what we have become. So I think continuing to expand and expanding in the kind of right areas of the business at the right moment, definitely a challenge, and onboarding and keeping folks driving towards the same mission and vision. I think definitely top of mind for me right now going into our second year. We have big plans for product expansion through 2021. And so excited for what that looks like. We're going into some new categories and kind of developing our fabric platform approach beyond our two core platforms we have live today. Really excited there. I think not to come back to the point of authenticity, but I think it's really important. I think, going into the second year where the stakes are much higher, there's more product on the site, there's just a wide range of things that folks are working on. I think getting super clear around what is it that Parade is, seeking to accomplish? How are we driving towards this vision of a brand that's fundamentally driven by self-expression and is kind of building the next big American underwear brand? How do we kind of keep ourselves honest and focused on that singular mission with everything else going on, both inside the company and all of the exciting plans we have as a team? But to your point, we're still in the midst of a global pandemic, and 2020 has certainly, there's no shortage of curveballs that the world is throwing at us today.
Staying authentic to a singular vision. I like the sound of that. That might be the show title right there.
Love it.
and it begs to be said, because if you haven't checked out yourparade.com right now, which is where it's the e-commerce store, it begs to be said that it seems like you're building an ardent fan base. And I think that you've really widened the aperture. You've expanded the scope of the people to whom Parade could be really meaningful and category defining. Just from a body inclusivity and size inclusivity perspective alone, I think that you have you set yourself up for a very long and successful run. It's been amazing to have you on the show, Jack. Any last thoughts?
I mean, no, it's been great been great to chat. Love the show, and excited for everything coming in 2021 for all of us.
And
us too.
Yeah. So are we. Well, we're all excited. I'm not sure. It's there's also nervous excitement too, Jack. Thank you for listening. If you want to support the show, one of the ways you can do that is to go leave us a rating on iTunes. We will accept nothing less than a 5-star. And the other way you can support us is go to yourparade.com and support Jack and Cami. Love what they're building, and love that they can be part of our show and share the story. That's it. Remember, we have the power to shape the future, and we do that through commerce. The future of commerce is what you make of it, and we want to help you shape that future. Thanks for listening to Future Commerce.